The wait is over. Now you can go out and buy a RØDE NT1 large diaphragm condenser microphone. Yes, I know you could buy one for 15 years already, but there's a reason why it is now the exact right time. The NT1 has seen quite some evolution over the years since its first release, but it was always a quality condenser microphone, a real workhorse for studios at a relatively affordable price. And now we can take the word relatively out of the sentence. The 4th gen RØDE NT1 with the iconic all-black paint job and the Ryco chuck mount with the all-metal pop filter insert was already a great microphone with a flat response and all accessories you might need for it being right there in the box, apart from an audio interface, since it was an XLR microphone which needed one, as it did not have any built-in preamp or any means to route it into a computer for recording. The NT1 5th gen, which came out earlier in 2023, was not just an evolution but a technical masterpiece, in that it has added a USB port to the mic that was XLR only so far, which opened up quite a few possibilities like adding digital signal processing, so compression, de-essing, bass boost, clarity enhancer to the sound through Røde's accompanying software suite, Røde Central, Røde Connect and Unify. Røde Connect and Unify also offer recording capability, so they are really a one-stop shop for podcast recording or, in case of Unify, streaming. The 5th gen NT1 has also added the ability to record in 32-bit float or recording at high sample rates of up to 192 kHz. It was quite some innovation packed into it at a price that was astonishingly lower than that of the original NT1 or the 4th gen, yet still well above 200, hovering around 250 a few months after the launch. It wasn't perfect though, most notably it was missing a headphone port for latency-free monitoring in the USB mode, and you had to pay attention to what you want to use it for, as it could indeed do everything that it was advertised to be able to do, but not everything at the same time, like you could not use it as a USB and an XLR mic at the same time. If used in XLR mode, it was a slightly improved version of the 4th gen NT1, with an even lower self-noise of 4 dB, which made it literally the quietest microphone in the world. And it also had a higher SPL sound pressure level of 142 dB, which allowed it to record even louder sound sources like a Boeing engine at takeoff. It is a great microphone, you've been listening to it all along, so far in this video. However, many of us did not really use all these features, and therefore it did not make much sense to buy something for $250 or euros for features you don't need. And this is exactly where the NT1 Signature Series comes into play, which you are hearing right now, as it takes away the USB mic features and leaves it at its core capability of being a pure XLR microphone. Technically speaking, it should sound exactly the same as the NT1 5th gen over XLR. Again, this is the NT1 5th gen, and this is in comparison the new Signature Series edition of the RØDE NT1. Not only that, but its price has also decreased to mere $159 in the US. Staying on the Signature Series, so really in terms of the Røde Studio condenser microphone lineup, it is much more of a natural successor of the NT1 4th gen without all the fancy USB features like 32-bit float recording, and therefore offered at an even more competitive price point, which actually puts it in a more or less the same bracket as the RØDE NT1-A, the 10 years anniversary edition, which happened to be my first XLR microphone that I've purchased. And because of this, I decided to compare these two against each other, because quite honestly, if you are already on an NT1 4th gen, there's not much point in upgrading it to the Signature Series unless, and this is by the way why it is a series, you want it in some funky color like pink, blue, red, green or purple, which is available in limited quantities. I have some links down below where you can find them. If you're looking for buying your first condenser microphone and have maximum $200 to spend, you will very likely end up comparing these two at some point. Not least because you will still get everything you need for it. A shock mount, a pop filter, even an XLR cable. You only need an audio interface to start using them. And first, the similarities. Both of them have a cardioid polar pattern, meaning that they will pick up mostly what's in front of them. However, make no mistake, these are sensitive condenser microphones. So these will pick up pretty much everything, so you better have a rather quiet recording space. The polar pattern seems to be even a little tighter with the NT1 Signature Series, more similar to focus cardioid or even a supercardioid pattern, looking at this little loop at the back, which is much less prominent on the NT1-A. And also there's quite a bit of difference in their frequency response and consequently in how they sound. There's a lot more going on with the NT1-A. There's a cut below 100 Hz, then a bit of bass boost in the 100 to 300 Hz region, then it gets flattish with slight ups and downs, and you can see two humps in the treble frequencies, and then the airiness above 10 kHz with a definitive roll-off above around 13 kHz. All this results in a warm, deep yet clear sound, which is very pleasing. Comparing it to the NT1 Signature Series, that has a pretty much completely flat frequency response until about 5 kHz, where it starts to emphasize the treble frequencies, getting elevated with a little pause about at the same point as the NT1-A, to at the end also roll off similarly. To put it in layman terms, which even I can understand, it tries to catch your voice as it is. It does not try to emphasize or cut in the low or mid frequencies. It is slightly more aggressive though in the top end, so you should hear a bit more clarity and articulation. Switching back to the NT1-A, you can immediately hear the much more emphasized low end. The depth of my voice gets more forward thanks to the slight boost in 100, 200, 300 Hz frequency range, while the NT1 Signature Series has a much more flatter sound, which of course has the advantage that it is a dream to EQ it should you choose to do so. And as I'm recording them into the Rodecaster Duo, a review coming out soon, stay tuned for that. You could for instance subscribe to the channel not to miss it, and by the way let me know with a like and a comment if you like this video so far. So the benefit of recording them into the Rodecaster is that it offers presets for both the NT1 and the NT1-A. This is how Rode themselves think the microphones should be processed in order to get the best possible sound out of them. Both presets add the high-pass filter, noise gate, some compression and the effects processors, the big bottom and the oral exciter. And this is how the NT1 Signature Series sounds with the NT1 preset. I think it does help to clear up the sound. Generally speaking, the presets you get with the Rodecasters are pretty useful, and this is how the NT1-A sounds with its dedicated preset on the Rodecaster Duo. 30 and 31 dB of gain, as the presets have suggested me. I think it fits fine, but you can also set it to what's indicated as a sensitivity level on the datasheet, which is 32 dB, which is always a good starting point at gain staging. Just for fun, let me show you how the Lewitt 240 Pro sounds against the new Signature Series NT1. Because if you buy the shock mount and the magnetic pop filter to it, they are pretty much getting in the same price range. This is again the NT1 Signature Series, and this is how it sounds with the processing on that the Rodecaster Duo has suggested it to be processed with. And this is the Lewitt 240 Pro. The Rodecaster Duo does not suggest any preset for it, so this is my own preset for my voice. And if I switch off the processing on both microphones, this is the pure raw sound of the NT1 Signature Series, and this is the unprocessed sound of the Lewitt 240 Pro. Again, this is the Signature Series unprocessed sound, and this is the Lewitt 240 Pro unprocessed sound. And this is how the Lewitt 240 Pro sounds when processed, and this is how the NT1 Signature Series sounds when processed. The RØDE NT1 Signature Series is quickly becoming one of the most recommendable large diaphragm condenser microphones out there. It is an incredible value for money, and if you have a relatively quiet or acoustically somewhat treated room to record in, it is really hard to beat. With that, thanks for watching and bye for now.